Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Vinyl. This time we talked to Andy Dearis from Halloween. Just off the back of their brand new record, Halloween, self-titled. This was definitely a much anticipated comeback from the German power metalers, and a great record, and it's proven to be a great record now, the week of release. Check it out. Andy talks about many things, including a couple of the songs that he wrote, the vibe of the band, and just things in general, including smoking cigars and so on and so forth. Great little episode. Andy's such a great guy. Check out the album Halloween by Halloween and enjoy the show, and we will see you next time. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Vinyl with Darren and Nicholas.
Where are you guys?
Stockholm.
Stockholm.
Yep.
Sweden.
Absolutely.
My favorite city, even though last time I told my lady, hey, it's my favorite city all over the world, so you have to come visit me when we play Stockholm. And we're going to have a look into the Vasa because the museum is blah, blah, blah. It's so great. And I've been there 3 times. And then finally my lady flies into Stockholm and the Vasa is closed.
Oh, really?
It's like, what the friggin' hell is going on? That's my lady. Yes, I tell her I want to show her the Vasa. No, you closed the friggin' museum. And I told her, it's great there. I mean, Stockholm is way warmer than, for example, Finland or Norway. And man, it was the coldest day of the year. I was freezing my little nuts off in Stockholm, I swear to God. But it was definitely fantastic for her.
Yeah, that's cool.
As you guys live in Stockholm, but for us, it's like the giant Venice or something like that. It's
right.
Like one Palacio after the other, and you just turn around the corner, and suddenly there's a 3-mast bark in front of you passing. You go, whoa! I mean, this is something you only can have in Stockholm, isn't it?
Yeah. It is a good city. Not coming from Stockholm, it's a lot easier for me to appreciate it. You know, to really see how cool it is.
You probably know what I mean. As a German greenhorn.
Yeah. Look, you're celebrating already before the album's out, sitting there having a cigar.
Oh, then wait, if you talk about this, I'm 3 times a day celebrating. Even bought myself yesterday. I was happy to have had a look in my favorite store, but they honestly the last 3 months they've been not equipped with anything. They have great whiskeys, great cigars. And yes, cigars are still there because they got this super giant humidifier, and they're like all the brands I like from Honduras and Nicaragua. I don't like that much the Cubans because they're way too expensive for low quality, actually.
Right.
Big time. But now I'm happy that we finally have some guys here from Canary Islands in the Gran Canaria, and they have Cuban tobacco. And they got the La Palma, our sister island, La Palma leaves around it. Fantastic cigar. And man, €2. I mean, for that, as a Cuban, you would probably pay $20.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm so happy, can't tell you. And then in that same store I was yesterday, and they had Ardbeg, 20 years and 21 years, Ardbeg, Islay whiskey.
Yeah.
I'm into whiskey again.
I fell from the sky, so don't ask me why I'm feeling so down. you help me find what goes on in your captor's mind? For eternity awaits on the brink of our escape. We're twisting, we're turning, we're running, we're burning. All on the run through the maze. On through the madness, no time for sadness. And no one can show us the way. Through Hangar 18. The tension now grows, we're getting so close. Enter the ship, stop the engine, and open the gates of Hangar 18. Onward to the sky, the stars of brightness shine forever. On and on we fly, so far away.
Suddenly, from behind the rim of the moon, emerges a spark fueled by jewel. I felt very, very small.
Hey little alien, what have they done to you? Are there survivors here? Or have they all just disappeared? Settles down deeper in. Coming home to a place still unknown, and the hope as I dream is undying.
Well, how often do you smoke cigars? Do you smoke cigars every day?
Yeah, that's like 2 or 3 times, definitely.
Right.
So it's for me, it's like talking with you guys, having interviews. For me, it's like having a conversation with people I like, because we all like rock music, so we're all one common thing, so to say. If I talk about something, you understand what I say. If you talk, I understand what you want, because we're rock and rollers, fellow rock and rollers most of the times. Okay, exception yesterday, I had a lady from Los Angeles, and she was not into metal or rock and roll at all. She had to do the interview because her magazine wanted to have an interview with me,
Oh,
And that's a bit cheesy, actually, because you feel like, yeah, the wrong place, so to say, because she doesn't know what you're talking about. If you talk about your roots, she goes like, "Who's that? Who's that?" I said, "Judas fucking Priest." Don't know them. No. Wow. That's weird then.
It's funny. How old was she? Was she?
I reckon 30.
Yeah.
okay.
Hard to say because she had this
Oh,
artificial gum lips and everything was a bit in shape here, and yeah, that's a bit embarrassing then, you know.
Yeah. It's funny how some bands, you know, I'm starting to feel it now. The other day, literally yesterday, I played my daughter. I'm like, oh, you got to hear this song. And her and a friend had no idea of this song. And I'm like, are you seriously? This is like the biggest female singer of all time. And I played another song.
What you played, Janis Joplin or what?
No, I played Madonna.
Madonna.
all right. Yeah.
And like my daughter's 14, I'm like, hang on a sec, you've seriously never heard Madonna. You've never heard any of these songs by Madonna. And 14-year-olds who are into music had never heard of Madonna. And
That's the way it is.
it's the way it is. It's so you can kind of understand, you know,
Well,
the fact that someone doesn't know who Judas Priest is blows my mind. But,
yeah, point taken.
Yeah.
Point taken. But nevertheless, if we would do an interview like between rock and rollers, you're a magazine and I'm a musician, and then you tell some nice blonde chick who never heard even the name rock and roll, rock and what, you know, and she shall do an interview with an old bloke like me who's in the metal business in 30 plus years. I mean, this can't work out, can it? I mean, this is stupid. I mean, whatever. I was so happy when I said goodbye. It was more lovely to see Black. And man, I very seldom I use a complete cigar in one interview.
All right.
So I was completely, you know.
wake up. Your head still may be fuzzy from intoxicating dreams, but it's the Emperor's Chariot race day. Your dedicated old guard eagerly await your presence at the Colosseum. As for your large flagon of ale, alas it went flat, and regrettably I had to throw it away. Come now, not a moment to waste.
Well, that's kind of a good segue into Halloween and the new record. You know, it's probably, you know, it's so anticipated, you know, from fans, and not even just fans, outside just the metal community.
Yeah.
You know, it's so anticipated, and everyone's so excited. Was she even aware of who Halloween was?
Yeah, that's what she said at the very beginning. She actually excused herself, but everybody was actually thinking in that we need an interview with that bloke, because even in the USA there's big rumors about it, so they have to write something. So at the end of the day, it'll probably be page 32 up in the upper right corner. But at least they can say they wrote something about these Halloween blokes. So
Right.
that's probably the only reason. I know that from Japanese magazines, for example, whenever you don't hit number 1 in Japan, you're up there, page 38, upper right. But as soon as you hit number 1, exactly these magazines, who normally are not into metal at all, suddenly your cover page.
Right.
And
Right.
the number 1 star just for a month, and wow, and you're the greatest, and next month you're completely forgotten because it's so we know these stories. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's exactly like teen idol bullshit and television. I mean, I'm always really feel so sorry for the people who are taking part there and having their dreams and hopes and everything, and you know from beginning on, okay, it's just like a big lie. Big sellout, and I'm just feeling so sad for them. But that's the principle, actually. Live fast, and it's now for today's, you're the hero, and tomorrow nobody knows your face anymore. So
True. Sad but true, absolutely. But not for you guys. You know.
But we are very stubborn.
So you're very stubborn, and the genre of music is like you guys are going out on you know, just to skip over the album a little bit, and you're going out on a tour with Hammerfall.
Yeah.
And look, that's massive shows, massive tour. It shows the strength and the longevity of Halloween as a band.
Yeah, you could say so. Told you, I'm stubborn. No, honestly, I don't know what to say, because lots of people always ask, how do you do that, and what's the secret, and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, you know, we're all old enough, I mean, to realize that stubbornness is the negative word. love and passion would be the positive way to describe it.
Yep.
If you love something, you just don't throw it away tomorrow. So it's like, it's your hobby, it's your love, and for whatever reason it is your love, doesn't matter. We can't discuss that because taste is taste. Somebody likes to paint, I like to make music, so there you go. It's your passion, you go for it forever and once, so to say. And that means as long as you have the possibility, as long there's, in reality, as long as there's a record company interested in your shit, so you go for it. And certainly we all do our best to make that album as good as you can. You would actually write your best songs. I try to write my best songs, so it's quite naturally that you're inside your hobby, you always try to do best. And that's what happened. Nobody actually forced a gunpoint to some record label manager, you're gonna sign us now, otherwise I pull the trigger. I mean, you can't do that. So we'd always been in the happy situation that for whatever reason, there was always record companies who were interested. And it just keeps you going, period. So I don't know why, there's so many American bands who could be going and don't go because the contract is not good enough. And I go like, yeah, what the fuck? I mean, yes, you got a bad contract, but if there's no better contract around, so you'd rather skip your love, I don't understand that. So it's just for financial reasons. So you're not earning that much, so you're not going to do it. That can't be love, my friend. So if I really love something, I take the chance I have. So if there's only this chance allowing me to earn X amount of money, and it's maybe way less than I used to earn, but it's the only chance to go on, what do? I take this only chance and go on.
Yeah.
Because I believe in my dream, I believe in my heart, and it's my love I want to present to the people. So rather than sitting at home and writing songs for myself.
Yeah.
And this is something I never understood. But that's probably mentality, I don't know. Or maybe it's really, I mean, to be fair, maybe it's really a fight to survive. That's another question.
Yeah.
If somebody makes the calculation at the end of the day, he has to feed 2 or 3 sons or daughters or whatever, and makes the calculation and says, if I sign that contract, I cannot make enough. So I have to stop playing music and look for a real job. To be fair, that might be reality in some cases as well. So,
yeah.
In my dreams, the world would be without foolish idiocracy. I want to change our destiny. Out of the crowd and screaming loud, the influence of media house. But I can't change it here. A part of me wants shelter from the light. But here I stand to take the fight. If I was the master of starlight, I would shine in the dark and guide through the night. If I was the creator of golden times, I would be like the one that brings back paradise. Look at me, what have I become? Illusionary journeyman. I'm lost in fantasy. World won't change, many have tried. All the goodness just implied. Still I can make it here. A part of me will shelter from the night. But here I stand to take the fight. If I was the master of starlight, I would shine in the dark and guide through the night.
also, I mean, you've been doing this for so long now, and I mean, from back in the days when artists were actually selling physical records up till today, when it's all about streaming and downloads and things like that. I mean, do you miss the good old days when you were actually selling more physical records and so on, the 80s and the 90s?
From an egoistic point of view, definitely. I mean, it would be much, much, much better actually if my ass would be in the completely dry, as we say. You never have to think about money anymore. So if we still would live in the 80s, we would probably all be super multi-millionaires. So just for the sake of feeling safe, financially safe, it would be great. On the other hand, you never know what happened if you would have like $100 million on your account at the age of 40. Theoretically, you would have still another 20, maybe even 30 years of career in front of you, but because you already have all the money in the world, maybe you're getting so lazy that at the end of the day, you make the decision, oh, wife, son, you know what, I stay at home. Because it's all the money is there, I don't need to go out there and blah, blah, blah. Maybe a reunification like we had now with the Pumpkins United would never have been taken place, because everybody is so fat and stuffed with money that you don't actually need to move anymore. I don't know. That might quite be. That might happen. Even though I can't imagine it, because I know that the biggest hobby from definitely Sasha, talking about Kai, myself, the biggest hobby is output, writing songs and seeing the shiny eyes and go. And when you see somebody who really loves it, like yourself, your heart skips a beat, and you're like, yeah, I did it again. You know, I made that shine. And this, from that point of view, I cannot imagine that, because that's something you desperately look for, like that shiny eyes of the people. This is not, you don't talk about money then.
That's something Nick and I have talked a few times. Two people in particular is Jimmy Page, and the other one was the Van Halen. Some of the Van Halen guys, Eddie Van Halen in particular. Yeah. Like there's obviously such a love and such a talent for not only just playing music but the production side. But they disappeared for so long that they, you know, that like Jimmy Page. Come on, he's so creative, but he hasn't really done anything, you know, substantial. I guess since that Coverdale Page album,
right? Yeah,
you know, that was the last really creative thing he ever done, and he's still alive now, and he's still, you know, I find that fascinating how he can't pick up the guitar, you know,
Well, if I may take this example and put it in a bit further in my thoughts, because that reminds me of actually a subject which is discussed with a fellow journalist of Russia half an hour ago, how important it is to have the right people around you to actually make it happen. You may have the greatest idea, like the greatest song idea, but without your band, it will still be a good song at the end of the day, even if you publish it. So let's say I publish a song on my solo record, but it'll never have the impact of the band.
Yep.
So, because he asked me, why are there like so many songwriters in the band? Don't you write your songs together? And I said, look, I mean, we always handled it like that. The main idea bringer is the songwriter. And the band is actually then in the pre-production doing everything in their power to make this idea a great song.
Yep. So,
I mean, Andy Darius cannot play like a Wyckoff or like a Kai Hansen or like a Sasha. Impossible. I'm a mediocre guitarist, but I'm talented, I would say, and I need a lot of sweat and a lot of rehearsal to actually be able to play my own friggin' ideas.
Right.
So, and I make it okay sounding with the help of my fellow computer. But it takes one of my three fellow guitarists to make it sound the way it should. with like not only robotic paste, copy paste shit that we all love to do in the modern music, but to make it live. So play it, don't copy paste it. And that's just a stupid example for the guitar. Even worse or better, anyway you look at it. So for the drums, I can't program drums, and probably some people who never know or don't know drums, don't know how you play drums. They listen to my programmed drums and probably think it's played. But as soon as I would have the A/B comparison of a programmed drum, and now you take Dani, who's playing the same shit in real, you see like the head goes up and goes, oh wow. I said, but it's the same shit. I said, yeah, but this is something else. So you need your people. You need your chemistry inside the band, even if it's bad chemistry. Sometimes we realize, even when we're bitching, like, you can't do that. It's bullshit. I want to have this idea. No, but look, I mean, when you play it like, no, I don't like it. Yeah, maybe it's a compromise. Let's do it like this. And sooner or later you go like, oh yeah, what the fuck? Okay, do it like that. I can live with that. And at the end of the day, it's the better idea. Even though as a songwriter, I was like, because I was so used to the shit I did, and I remember all the sweat I put in that recording on the demo, and now you're just gonna destroy it and do it in another way. And you know, it's like, no, it was so hard work. But at the end of the day, it's worth it. The compromise is always worth it, even when I, as a songwriter, don't really get it in the very moment. But let's give it 3 or 4 days, and then I listen to it and I go like, yeah, okay. Now that I'm getting used to it, and I slowly forget the initial idea, I say it's as good, if not better. And so what I want to say is that all these bits and pieces who come from the different people in a band makes that certain mixture that probably works better than your own shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's the secret why bands are most of the times much more successful than solo artists.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, a few exceptions, but I think like Phil Collins, for example. I mean, Phil Collins is the great exception. But from 1,000 solo records, there's one who does it, who makes it, and the rest is not as good as the original band.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that what happened with Pumpkin United? Just to get on the album, Pumpkin Reunited. Is that when you guys got together? Did you guys feel that spark? Because I'm guessing you didn't really go in there thinking we're going to do a record. You probably went in, let's just do a tour because the fans are wanting it. But did you feel that brothership? That did you feel you guys connecting and that evolved into wanting to do a record?
In the first 6 months, we hope, because the first 6 months after the world tour, when it was quite clear that we didn't kick in each other's teeth during the tour, everybody was up and running and had the greatest time in his life. So even the old people like Kai and Michael Kiske, who have seen the Keeper days, but they stand on stage now and say, wow, this is so much bigger than the Keeper ever was.
Yeah.
So wow, something is right here. Something is right here. So let's be thankful. And I remember nearly every night I stood there with Michael Kiske backstage when Kai was doing his medley for 12, 13 minutes. And Michael and I had time, so I had my smoke and we had our glass of red wine. It's very important. It's like celebration every night. And most of the times we're just standing there in disbelief and with the glass of red wine and looked into the concert hall and looked over the people and said, wow, what's going on here? This is fantastic. So for me, it's new, even though I was through all the ups and downs of Halloween in the last decades. And even for Michael, it was new because he said he never remembered something great like this, not even back in the day. So yes, you take this into the studio, or at least into the time to come when you realize, okay, we're now preparing for an album. Wow, okay. And then there was like 6 months of what's the right word, of hoping and fearing, and do we have enough songs? Is it good enough? Because the pressure is high then.
Yeah.
But then finally we had this meeting in April, and April 2019, we had the meeting, listened to the first song ideas, and then suddenly everybody was like, wow, okay, there's so many good ideas already. I think this will be a hell of a good album. We have enough songs to choose from, so you can even take care of the mixture, not too much 80s, not too much nowadays, but we need 3 or 4 songs from that area. We have 2 or 3 from this, we have 2 or 3, perfect, it'll be great. So yeah, that was when the band started to work the first time as a band when it comes to creation, to creativity. And then it was like boom, 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 boom. So Marcus gave me a call. I play the bass on your thing here. I like it. Listen to it. So, wow, okay. Can we send this to Danny? Maybe he can put some live drums on it, because Marcus sometimes had much more movement in his bass. So maybe we can double that with the kicks and yeah, whatever. Send it to Danny. Danny, like next day, I drummed this and that, and like a puzzle piece, I suddenly had all my fellow musicians on my song, playing the real thing, and 99% of the time I was like hooked. I was like, yeah, much better than what I programmed. There was 1% there where I had to fight, and I said, not like this. So, but what I want to say was a constant come and go and back and forth, and then finally you had an idea where it could lead to. So where you have an idea, okay, this is gonna be great. And then we met in September. October was meeting in Hamburg in the Chateau studio, where we hooked up Ingo Schwichtenberg's original drums, which we finally brought back.
Mm-hmm.
They were perfectly conserved in the cellar of an Ingo Schwichtenberg fan, and the drums were like new. It's unbelievable. We hooked them up, Danny played them, mic'd them up, and suddenly you were like, wow, that sounds freaking great. Because in the Chateau studio in Hamburg, they even had the original 24-track tape machines from back in the days. And fortunately, the technician was still alive. I remember Achim he's called, and he was old back in the days already. So, and he was in the wheelchair because he had a stupid accident with the car.
Right.
But he looked horrible, but he was alive. And
Right, yeah.
so he went into studio and was a wheelchair and on here and there and boom, boom, boom. And I don't know what he did. But at the end of the day, the machine was hooked up with the original SSL mixing board and sounded fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And the good story is like two months after the pre-production, he was out of the wheelchair and he looked much better.
Oh, yeah.
I just saved my hide. I just step aside. I don't want to fight my whole life through. I know this is wrong. I know the right way. My argument's strong, but silent I stay. I try to show hard. I try to persuade. What's muted and played. I just save my hide. I just step aside. I don't want to fight my whole life. I don't take pride in staying alive. I just save my hide, my whole life. I know it is pride, or maybe it's fear, of stepping aside, then being kicked in the rear. But don't get me wrong, I hate what it is, the coward in this. I just save my hide. I just step aside. I don't want to fight my whole life through. No. I just save my hide. I just step aside. I don't want to fight my whole life. I don't take pride in staying alive. I just save my hide, my whole life through.
But you mentioned that puzzle of putting a song together.
Yeah.
Would you say is that the greatest part of being an artist, watching an idea come to fruition and actually become a song? That's got to be like the coolest thing, right?
Yeah, most of the times, because it's not always the same. Some songs are the way you describe. There are ideas, but you don't know where you take them.
Right.
Where do they go? You need help. And then there are other ideas which are nearly there, but as mentioned earlier, it's just that you have to listen to it with your musicians. When I play the guitar on my demo, I sing my shit, certainly. I program the drums. I play my bass guitar on it. It's Andy playing bass guitar. Okay. The comparison to Markus Grosskopf, it's nearly blasphemy, you know, but I mean, Markus plays, I play, and yeah, well, what, but it's the idea, it's there. The song idea is there. And with a little bit of imagination, you can tell, okay, it'll be a fantastic song. But for me as a musician, it's yes. It's not only the arrangement, but if the boys come up with great arrangements, even the better. But to listen to your ideas played by professional musicians, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's when you suddenly go up, whoa, I did something good here. Hey. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what in earlier days, we did that in the rehearsal room. Nowadays, it's impossible. It's so way too time consuming.
Yeah.
Yep.
And why would you? I mean, everybody's got his little studio, so you just
Right.
send the shit left and right, and it doesn't matter if you're living next door or in Germany. I mean,
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
it doesn't matter anymore. So, yeah, but it's fantastic when you then sooner or later have all the shit from your different fellow members here and listen to it, and then finally Michael, for example, that was great when Michael Kiske was sending his vocals for The Fear of the Fallen. I said, I could imagine here and there, and said, fantastic. I mean, yeah, let's just leave it and let's wait for the production. If the producer team is spot on, then we're going to do it exactly that way. So
Right.
it was really smooth. The only guy who had a little bit of trouble was Kai, because a long song is always super demanding.
Right.
You think you're ready, and then you realize, oh, bullshit, I have another half of a page lyrics because the story is not finished yet. So, okay, I have to find another part here. So write another part. Then you do find another part. But where does this part fit in?
Right.
Lyrically and logically, it has to come after this and that part. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. So, but yes, now it has to be in here. But it doesn't fit with the other part. So, okay, I have to write another part to make this part go into that part, and so on and what so forth. So at the end of the day, it was there constantly, 4 months just for Skyfall.
Wow.
So it's, you could say a song of in the length of Skyfall is like writing 3 or 4 songs actually.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm happy that I did not have to do that, because I remember when we did the King for 1,000 Years.
Yeah.
After that, I was destroyed.
Right. Yeah.
We would say in Germany, you'd say brain fucked.
Right.
That's it. That's it. I need a break. I need holidays.
Can you remember how many songs you've obviously got? You got 5 of your songs on this record. 5 of your that you brought in. Can you remember? Can you remember how many you initially brought in?
12.
Okay.
Oh, right.
12. We recorded. Let me see. We recorded 7 of my songs.
Mhm.
Whereas one is a B-side. That's Save My Hide is a B-side now, because it's way too far away from Halloween. So actually, as always, I give my boys to listen to everything I have, and sometimes there's bullshit on it, but I make them listen to it. I don't want to have like Roland, for example, Roland Rappo. Back in the days, he was really driving us crazy because he never gave us anything to listen. And then he put out a solo record. And in the solo record, you had 3 or 4 super great Halloween songs, which we could use.
Yeah.
From that point of view, I never, ever, even if it's a bullshit idea, or it would be Andy going soul or Andy going jazz, whatever, I would make my boys listen to it, because you never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Waikey is, for example, Waikey is always a weirdo. He listens to an idea, and which you definitely 100% you would say it's nothing for the band. But Waikey loves it, and he wants to have this or that part of that song because he thinks it's genius, and tries to make another song around it. And at the end of the day, most of the time, he's right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's away from the band, but inside a Halloween package, you can have these excursions. So there's like 2 or 3 minutes far away of everything you know about Halloween, and then boom, you're back into power metal. You go like, oh yeah.
Right.
So this is Waikey's thing. I mean, so yeah, make them listen to everything, and at the end of the day, they decide. This time it was 7 ideas, even though one idea was definitely, even after we recorded it with the band, it was still too far away, too way out of the ballpark. So it's been decided to release it as a B-side. The other song was a bit of a fight we had, because we all loved it so much. It was a ballad. It's called Into the Sun. And the boys tell me it's the nicest ballad I've ever written.
All right.
I think it's a great ballad. I don't know if it's the nicest I've ever written, but yeah. The producer team then said, okay, we should definitely try to lower it 5 semitones to make it singable for the audience. We all thought it's a good idea, but when we listened to the final result, it was not Halloween anymore.
Oh.
Suddenly it was, I don't know, it could have been, it's one of those songs which have no sex anymore. Is it male? Is it female? Is it Halloween? Is it Bon Jovi? I mean, everybody could do it. It's just a great ballad, and it would probably work, and Bon Jovi could have a #1 hit with it, maybe. But that's not Halloween. So rather leave it away. And we decided to rather re-record it for the next album in its original state, 5 half tones higher. I personally would love to hear Michael singing the refrain, because it's goosebumps.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the way we go, because it's too good to actually throw away.
The stars, we touch the sky, the colors of the rainbow. High above, we try to catch and take it with us.
of the 5 songs you brought in, it has are any of them older songs that you've been sitting on for a little bit?
Oh yeah, you could say so. There's this refrain from Mass Pollution.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I have it on the table since the Iraq War, because I had this twist, because in the beginning I always said, oh, this frigging Powell we see here in the television, he always tries to tell the people that there are weapons of mass destruction. And you hear this, weapons of mass destruction. I heard it 327 times each and every day. And if I listen to something that often, I think, okay, that's a hoax. So now we know it was a hoax. They never found weapons of mass destruction, but the war was taking place anyway.
Yeah.
But back in the days, I remember I had this twist and I said, we are no weapons of mass pollution. So metal is no mass pollution. And even though lots of media still try to sell the people out there that metal and rock music is loud and noise and everything, it's just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's noise. So even great classical artists like Mahler would never be successful with idiots like you guys who think that metal is noise. What's Mahler then? You know, Mahler is probably the most, in classic, the biggest noise you can ever make, but even though it's genius. Or nowadays, if we talk now in the 21st century, what's deftone? Is it noise or is it genius? For me, it's genius, because for me as an artist, this is something fresh, because harmonies are here to be played with.
Yep.
And they do it in a way which is new, and for me as a composer, very interesting. I don't say I want to do that, but spices here and there, suddenly having that cinematic effect just in, like, shortly before the refrain, and then the sun goes up, you know? And this is a technique I really love. But what I want to express was Mass Pollution. The refrain was there since the Iraq War, but I never found anything that could fit, like verses, bridges. I had no idea how to finish this. Neither did my boys. They always said they're like, what's with that da 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 da, you know? I said, oh yeah, Mass Pollution. You know, what's going on with that? I mean, I hear that, like, that question comes from Waikiki since 10 years.
Right.
You know, like, well, if you really love it, then sit down, maybe you find a riff or whatever. But he never did. Because, like, Waikiki is even more lazy than I am, I have to admit. But nevertheless, this time there was this sitting in front of the telly, jamming again, and suddenly I had this wait a minute, that could be perfect for Mass Pollution. Yeah, I found something.
We'll get nothing.
it must be. See, that's something that must be really euphoric when you're sitting on this song for so long,
Yeah.
or this idea, and it finally comes into fruition.
Yes.
You know,
That's celebration day. So you have to have a smoke then.
yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I really love it. So even the even the key was right. I remember, because Mass Pollution was on a certain key with the 0 string, so to say, with the
Yep.
open strings, and then you have that riff and you realize it's exactly the key. So perfect. So wow. Then I had this, being an old the Sweet fan, I had this idea to actually bring in that the bass player from the Sweet. Shame on me, I don't remember his name. But he was always having this gay friggin' ballroom bliss, you know.
Yep.
And I thought, okay, that's exactly what I need here. So this Mass Pollution or Revolution or and then, yeah, that was exactly everything the song needed, and the rest was done in Hamburg, pre-production with the boys, middle parts and shit like that you do with the boys, and ready, cool.
Great.
Nice. Nice.
Out of my system.
Yeah.
Let's break down a couple of other of your songs in particular. Anything you want to talk about? Should we talk about Cyanide, for instance?
Well, Cyanide is lyrically something that I wanted to actually throw out there. One of those songs where I don't hide behind in the keeper's world when it comes to politics or society or social shit. I just thought, okay, this time you point with the finger on it, because you don't actually attack anybody in person, but it's attacking myself and everybody else as well, because that's the world we grew up in. So everything is about. It's like that cyanide thing I love about. What I love about cyanide is it's that acid that actually destroys everything and just leaves the gold. So you separate everything. Everything around the gold is being completely destroyed, and just the gold survives. Yeah. And that's, for me, it's the synonym. It's kind of synonym, the symbol for our society we're living in, or at least the Western society is more or less only about money, money, money. And whatever you destroy, whatever dies left and right, doesn't matter. Just the money needs to be there. So, and that's why I love that cyanide. That's the symbol number one for the 21st century or 20th century as well. I mean, to be honest, since hundreds of years, it's exactly like that. It's all about power, 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 and power is bought by money, so it's money.
Yeah.
And where it comes from, I try to describe in the lyrics that you're actually, when you're watching television, I mean, it's so obvious that everything is kind of educating you in that manner, in that sense.
Yep.
You're being constantly educated that you're nothing without money, and you need this to be somebody, and it's a shame, actually. So maybe it works now after the COVID shit, that they have a chance to change the world into a better world. I just hope they do. Unfortunately, I think even if they do, we'll probably have another 20, maybe 30 years. Everything goes down smoothly, and then other assholes come and destroy it again. So
yeah,
let's wait and see.
Yeah.
I'm a very positive guy concerning monarchy. If there's a great king, you have the best life. The problem is his son is an asshole again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these are strange times.
Yeah. But nevertheless, I think, because I mean, I actually don't care if this is a virus that's been created, or if it's a virus even invented. I don't care. But I think they should take the chance they'd be given now and really do something good with it.
Yeah.
At least try to bring the world into the starting spot for a better world.
Yeah.
That's what I hope.
talking about money, it's also interesting to see how some of the richest people in the world have even gotten richer during the pandemic, like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and all these guys. They made billions during this
actually
time.
in the moment the worst nightmare happened. So poor rich, which was already far away from each other, is now out of the picture already. So it's so brutal.
It is.
I just hope it was worth it. So let's wait and see. Fingers crossed. Positive.
Fear of the Fallen.
Yeah.
Great song. Do you want to talk us about that? How that come about and
Yeah, sure. No, Fear of the Fallen was one of my what's the right word? The first song I could write without thinking about my when do I have to, as a singer, when I have to take in breath, when do I have to make a break, blah blah blah, because this was the first song I've written for two singers, for Michael and myself. I thought this could be a duet, and if I treat it as a duet, I actually don't need to make my mind up that I have to stop singing here because now you have to take in breath, and how long can you sing before another break, blah blah blah. So now I understood how Waiki writes his songs. He just doesn't give a shit. And I always had to sing these songs where he doesn't give a shit, where I would have to take in breath, because he composed all his songs just with a friggin' church organ.
Yeah.
And the church organ never stopped. And this time I was with a big smile on my face. I said, okay, that's the way how Waiki feels. All right. And I can do it now in good consciousness, with a good feeling, because I know we're two singers. And whenever I have to stop, Michael can sing. Whenever Michael has to stop, Andy can sing. So this was a nice experience, I have to say, which I then continued with Rise Without Chain and even Cyanide. But Cyanide, Michael said he doesn't want to sing Cyanide because he thinks I'm already so cool on it, he doesn't want to sing on it. I said, okay, then let's wait until the final day, and let's wait and see if Cyanide is still surviving without you, if we have the right mixture, if there's enough Michael Kiske songs, and when the mixture is 50-50, good enough, then you don't need to sing it, but if there is too much Andy, you have to sing it. And he said, yeah, okay. What we did, by the way, in Mass Pollution, nobody hears Michael, but when you mute Michael on the refrain, something big is missing.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Right.
So unfortunately, Michael is behind my broad, brutal, but when he's gone, it's not as elegant as you hear it now.
Yeah.
Now it sounds like there were lots of people singing along with me, but it's actually just Michael in the background.
All right.
That's great.
Yeah, and vice versa. Lots of people tell me, "Oh, that sounds fantastic," Andy. I said, "No, that's Michael."
I've had a dream about forgiveness, but I hear the angels say, the emotions were right, magical but like a wonder. Our precious heart can be broken within one night. And I realize she's a devil in disguise. magical moments and tears when she pretended angel disappears.
When it comes, say, Fear of the Fallen, do you still see that as your song now that you've written it? Obviously, it's the second single off the record. Or do you see it as a collaborative? It turns into a band affair. As soon as you give it to them and everyone puts their input, it's now.
Yeah, Fear of the Fallen was very far actually, but even in the pre-production, the boys added the middle parts. So I just had this. I don't know if you still hear it in your mind.
Yep.
That's the shit I presented, and then the boys felt like, okay, we should actually lengthen the solo. We have 3 guitarists here.
Yep.
It would be nice. It would be a nice occasion to say hello to every guitarist soloing. So they added their solos, and then they went back to my original arrangement.
Yep.
We did not have to change a lot in Fear of the Fallen, but again, it's quite a big difference if you hear Danny drumming it or if you hear my programming.
Yeah.
Or if you listen to Marcus playing the bass guitar now, or if you hear Andy doing his deedle 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 deedle.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the pulse. That's the heartbeat of a song. You know.
Exactly. I can only try to do it that in an artificial way. I say, okay, it's like, here are the fear of the fallen. Okay, that's the pulse. You're gonna. I try to do that by programming it, push up the volumes here, but nevertheless, it's what Danny does. He, for example, the emphasis is so much more because he just knows exactly where to be a millisecond behind or a millisecond up front. And that makes it.
Yep.
I can't describe it in a way of his style. I can analyze it. I know that Danny, for example, always takes the snare a little bit behind when he wants to have more emphasis. If you look at the waveform, it's not even louder, but still you feel like it's more boom.
Right. Yep.
It's just because he plays it a little bit later.
Light. Yep.
Everybody's waiting for it, and in your unconscious, you know, now it should know. It's not, oh, now it comes, and then it's got more emphasis. It's like, what a trick. But
Yep.
even when I try to program it like that,
Doesn't no.
work like that. Doesn't work like that. Don't ask me why. I tried everything because I love my system down there. Love to twiddle and fiddle around with the Pro Tools, but there are certain things you can't describe and you can't program, even though you've got all the tools and everything is there, but it doesn't work,
Yeah.
Right.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Decide and stand your ground, my friend. Refuse, and your fall goes hand in hand. Decide, decide, decide. False saints and believers, foes and deceivers, have you not chosen a side? Time for recounting, we're ready and standing. Cowards can run, can hide. Here comes the fear of the falling. We rise when you're calling. A light in the night, the flame in the fire, the voice in the choir. We're always nearby. Is this the road you're taking? Is this the life you're chasing? Is this your own heart beating? Is this you who is feeling?